I came home to find my car missing. My parents gave it to my brother without asking, so I took it back and left a note on their door. My mom's hysterical voicemail was wild. So picture this, I'm pulling into my apartment complex after grinding, through another soul-crushing day at the office, looking forward to nothing more than kicking off my heels and binge-watching some Netflix with a cold beer. But when I roll up to my usual parking spot, something's off. Like, really off. My Honda Civic is straight up gone. At first, I'm thinking maybe I parked somewhere else and my brain's just fried from work, you know? We've all been there. But nah, I always park in the same spot, third space from the mailboxes. It's like muscle memory at this point. I walk around the whole complex thinking maybe I'm losing it, but no dice. My car has literally vanished into thin air. My first thought? Someone jacked my ride. I'm about to call the cops when it hits me. Maybe I should check with my parents first. They have a spare key for emergencies, and sometimes my mom gets all worried and does weird helicopter parent stuff even though I'm 25 years old. So I call my mom, heart pounding like I just ran a marathon. Hey mom, did something happen to my car? It's not in my parking spot. And this woman, I kid you not, says in the most casual tone ever, like she's talking about the weather. Oh honey, we gave it to Luke. He needed it more than you do. I literally had to sit down on the curb because my legs just gave out. Luke is my younger brother, who's 22, still lives at home, and here's the kicker. He doesn't even have a valid driver's license. Got it suspended 6 months ago for speeding tickets he never paid. You what? I'm trying to keep my voice steady, but inside I'm screaming. Well, sweetie, Luke got that job at the pizza place, and he needs reliable transportation. You live so close. To work, you could just walk or take the bus. Y'all, I saved for 2 years to buy that car. Worked double shifts at Target, ate ramen noodles for months, skipped going out with friends, all so I could have my own reliable ride. And they just gave it away, like it was theirs to give. Mom, that's my car. I bought it with my money. You can't just give away my property. Oh, don't be so dramatic. It's still in the family. Besides, Luke promised to take good care of it. The audacity was unreal. I hung up and just sat there on that curb for like 20 minutes, trying to process what just happened. Cars were driving by, people walking their dogs, life just carrying on normally while my whole world felt upside down. Update. Just got off the phone with my mom and I'm shaking. She actually had the nerve to tell me I'm being selfish and that family comes first. The gaslighting is next level. I'm about to do something that might burn bridges forever. Should I really go through with what I'm planning? This wasn't the first time my parents pulled something like this. Growing up, it was always about Luke. When he wanted the new PlayStation, they bought it immediately. When I wanted piano lessons, suddenly money was tight. Luke crashed his bike, new one the next day. I crashed mine. Be more careful next time and maybe you'll get a new one for Christmas. When Luke was failing high school, they hired tutors and bought him every study guide on Amazon. When I was busting my butt to get into college, they told me I was smart enough to figure it out myself. Luke gets arrested for underage drinking? Boys will be boys. I come home 5 minutes past curfew, grounded for a week. The pattern was so clear now that I was looking at it from the outside. They'd trained me to be the responsible one, the one who doesn't cause problems, while Luke got to be the golden child who could do no wrong. And now they'd crossed a line I never thought they'd cross. I called my best friend Sarah, and she was as livid as I was. Girl, you need to get your car back right now. That's theft, straight up. But it's family. Family doesn't steal from each other. Real family respects boundaries. She was right. I knew exactly where Luke would be, at his buddy Jake's house, probably showing off his new ride to anyone who'd listen. These guys were all about image, always trying to one-up each other with the latest sneakers or gadgets their parents bought them. I grabbed my spare key and called an Uber. The whole ride over, I was rehearsing what I'd say if Luke was there, but honestly, I was hoping he wouldn't be. I just wanted my car back without the drama. Sure enough, there's my silver Civic sitting in Jake's driveway, like it belongs there. My hands were literally shaking as I walked up to it. Part of me felt like I was stealing, even though it was my car with my name on the title. I got in, started her up, and drove straight home. The whole way I kept expecting to see police lights in my rearview mirror, but nothing happened. It felt surreal, like I was in some weird movie where normal people do crazy things. When I got back to my apartment, I sat in my car for a minute just trying to figure out my next move. I could call my parents and explain, try to work it out, like adults. But honestly, I was done explaining myself to people who clearly didn't respect me. Instead, I went upstairs, grabbed a piece of paper, and wrote the simplest note ever. My car is not your property to give away. Don't contact me until you're ready to apologize and respect my boundaries. I drove back to my parents' house and taped it to their front door. No doorbell, no confrontation, just the facts in black and white. Then I did something I'd never done before. I blocked both my parents' numbers. Not permanently, just until I could think straight. I also changed my apartment door locks because my mom had a key, and I wouldn't put it past her to show up with some guilt trip about family loyalty. Update. The voicemails have started and they're absolutely unhinged. My mom left 17 messages in 1 hour. She's calling me ungrateful, selfish, and saying I'm destroying the family. Luke apparently told everyone at work that his sister stole his car, and now he's embarrassed. My dad's threatening to call the police. This is getting wild, but I'm standing my ground. How far do you think they'll actually take this? The next morning, I unblocked my mom's number just to see what I was dealing with. Big mistake. 23 missed calls and a voicemail box that was completely full. The first few messages were the usual guilt trip routine. How could you do this to your own family? And Luke is devastated. He was counting on that car for work. But then they got weird. Really weird. Message number 8. Your father looked up the laws and taking someone's car without permission is theft, even if your name is on some papers. Some papers? Lady, it's called a title, and it proves legal ownership. I literally laughed out loud at that one. Message 12. Luke told his friends you stole his car and now he can't show his face at work. You've humiliated him. His car? The audacity was honestly impressive at this point. But message 17 was the real winner. I called your Aunt Patricia, and she agrees you're being ridiculous. Family shares things. That's what family does. Aunt Patricia, who borrowed $500 from me last Christmas and never paid it back. Sure, let's talk about family sharing. Luke started texting me too, and his messages were something else. Thanks a lot for making me look like an idiot in front of everyone. Jake's whole crew thinks I'm a liar now. Mom's crying because of you. Just give me the car for like a month and then you can have it back. That last one really got me. A month? Like this was some kind of negotiation where I'd eventually get my own car back if I was patient enough. I screenshotted all of it and sent it to Sarah. Her response was just a bunch of laughing emojis followed by, "These people are absolutely delusional." My dad tried a different approach. He called me from his work number, probably thinking I wouldn't recognize it. "Kiddo, let's talk about this like adults." "Okay, Dad, let's talk. Why did you give away my car without asking me?" "Well, your brother needed transportation for his new job. You know how hard it's been for him to find work." "Dad, he doesn't have a license." Long pause. "He's working on getting it reinstated." "So you gave him a car he can't legally drive?" Another pause. "Look, we thought you'd understand. You've always been the reasonable one." And there it was, the reasonable one. Translation, the one who doesn't make waves, who goes along with whatever crazy stuff they decide without pushing back. Being reasonable doesn't mean being a doormat, Dad. That car is legally mine. If Luke needs transportation, he can earn money and buy his own car like I did. You're being selfish. I'm being an adult who owns her own property. He hung up on me. The nuclear option came that evening. My mom showed up at my apartment complex with Luke in tow, both of them looking like they were ready for war. I watched from my window as they pounded on my door for 10 minutes straight. Finally, my mom yelled loud enough for the whole building to hear, "I know you're in there! Open this door right now!" My neighbor Bob actually came out and asked if everything was okay. Bless that man. I texted my mom. "The locks have been changed. I told you not to contact me until you're ready to apologize. Please leave before I call security." She texted back, "We're not leaving until you give Luke his car back." His car. Still. I called the apartment office and reported a disturbance. They have a policy about non-residents harassing tenants, and security came out within 15 minutes. I watched from my window as a very professional security guard explained to my mother that she needed to leave the property immediately. The look on her face was priceless. She was so used to bulldozing over people that having someone in authority tell her no was like watching a system crash in real time. Luke looked mortified, which honestly made me feel a little bad for about 2 seconds. But then I remembered that he was 22 years old and had never faced a real consequence for anything in his life. Maybe this would be good for him. Update. It's been a week and the drama is reaching soap opera levels. My extended family is picking sides after my parents started calling everyone with their version of events. Half think I'm right, half think I'm a monster. Luke got fired from the pizza job because he kept showing up late. Guess walking isn't as convenient as driving. Who knew? My parents are now saying if I don't give the car back, I'm no longer welcome at family gatherings. Honestly, that sounds like a win-win to me. The best part? I booked a solo trip to Mexico with all the money I've saved from not constantly helping them out financially. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. The family chaos reached peak ridiculous when my cousin Amanda called me up, trying to play peacekeeper. "Look, I get that you're upset, but maybe you could compromise? Let Luke use the car on weekends or something?" "Amanda, would you let someone give away your car without asking?" "Well, no, but this is different. It's family." "How is it different?" Silence. "I just think you're being a little harsh." "I'm being harsh by not letting people steal from me?" She changed the subject after that. The best part was finding out through the family grapevine that my parents had been bragging to their friends about how generous they were giving Luke a car for his new job. They'd been telling everyone that they bought it for him. When the truth came out that they'd just taken their daughter's car without permission, suddenly they weren't so eager to talk about it. My grandmother, bless her heart, called me directly. "Honey, your mother told me what happened, and I want you to know that what they did was wrong. Finally, someone with sense. Your car is your car. When I was your age, if someone had given away my property without asking, there would have been hell to pay." Grandma didn't mess around, but they're saying you won't talk to them at all. "Grandma, they haven't apologized. They still think they were right to give away my car. Mom keeps calling it Luke's car in her messages." "Well, that's just foolish. I raised your mother better than that." Having my grandmother's support meant everything. She'd always been the voice of reason in our family, and her backing me up carried serious weight. The financial reality started hitting my parents pretty quickly. See, I'd been helping them out more than I'd realized. Paying for Mom's phone bill because she was having a tight month. Covering Dad's car insurance because he'd forgotten to budget for it. Lending Luke money for gas and food that never got paid back. When I cut off all financial support, their tune started changing real fast. Dad called from a different number. "Look, maybe we can work something out. Your mother's willing to admit she should have asked first. Should have asked? Dad, you gave away my property. This isn't about asking permission for something that was never yours to give. Okay, we made a mistake. Can we move past this? Where's my apology? I just said we made a mistake. That's not an apology. That's barely even an admission of wrongdoing. He got frustrated and hung up again. Luke tried the pitiful approach. Everyone at work thinks I'm a fraud now. Jake won't even talk to me. This is ruining my life. Luke, you lied to people about owning a car that wasn't yours. The consequences of lying aren't my fault. But I didn't know you'd take it back like that. It was never yours to begin with. Mom said it was a family car now. The delusion was strong with this one. 3 weeks after I took my car back, I was scrolling through social media when I saw that Luke had posted about needing rides to work, offering to pay gas money. The comments were brutal. His friends were roasting him about the borrowed car situation, and apparently the story had spread way further than just his immediate circle. Jake commented, "Bro, you told everyone that was your whip. That's messed up." Someone else, "Wait, so your sister's car was never actually yours?" Dude, I actually felt bad for him for about 5 minutes. But then I remembered all the times growing up when he'd thrown me under the bus to save face with his friends, and the sympathy faded pretty quick. The Mexico trip was incredible. I'd been wanting to go to Tulum for years, but every time I saved up enough money, some family emergency would come up, and I'd end up lending it out. This time, I kept my mouth shut about the trip until I was literally at the airport. I posted a picture of my margarita on the beach with the caption, "Sometimes you have to protect your own peace." My phone blew up with confused family members asking where I was, but I was sipping drinks with umbrellas in them and honestly couldn't care less about the drama back home. The best part was coming back to find 17 missed calls from my mother, all because she'd locked herself out of the house and expected me to drive across town with my spare key like I always did. The last voicemail was her realizing she'd have to call a locksmith and pay actual money to solve her own problem. When I finally called her back, she was furious. "Where were you? I needed help and you just disappeared." "I was on vacation, Mom. You know, that thing adults do when they have their own money and transportation." "You didn't tell anyone you were leaving? I don't have to run my travel plans by anyone. I'm 25 years old." "But what if there had been an emergency?" "There wasn't an emergency. You forgot your keys." The entitlement was still strong, but I could hear something different in her voice. Like maybe she was starting to realize that actions have consequences. Luke eventually found another job, but it took him 2 months because he had to rely on public transportation to get to interviews. 2 months of hearing him complain about bus schedules and walking in the rain. 2 months of my parents having to drive him places because he still didn't have his license back. I started getting texts from my dad. This would be so much easier if Luke had reliable transportation. My response, "Good thing there are lots of used cars for sale. I saw a nice Honda on Craigslist for $3,000. We don't have $3,000 right now." Sounds like a Luke problem. The boundary setting was honestly addictive. For years, I'd been the family problem solver, the one everyone called when they needed money or rides or someone to cover their responsibilities. Saying no felt incredible. Parents made one last attempt at manipulation through my cousin's wedding. Mom called to inform me that if I didn't resolve this situation before the wedding, I wouldn't be welcome at family events anymore. "Okay," I said. "Okay, what?" "Okay, I won't come to family events where I'm not welcome." Long pause. "You're really going to miss your cousin's wedding over this?" "Mom, you're really going to uninvite your daughter from family events because she wouldn't let you steal her car?" Another pause. "We didn't steal anything." "Then why haven't you called the police like you threatened? If Luke really owns the car like you keep saying, surely the cops would help you get it back." Silence. That's what I thought. I ended up having a great weekend instead of going to the wedding. Went hiking with Sarah, tried that new Thai place downtown, caught up on laundry, got a text from my cousin later saying she understood why I wasn't there, and that half the family was talking about how crazy my parents were acting. 6 months later, I'm living my best life. My bank account is healthier than it's ever been without constantly bailing out family members. My stress levels are way down without the constant drama and guilt trips. I've got plans to take another vacation, maybe Greece this time. Luke finally saved up enough money for a beater car and got his license back. Haven't heard from him in months, which is honestly refreshing. Last I heard through the family grapevine, he was actually doing okay at his new job now that he had to take real responsibility for his transportation. My parents still haven't apologized. They send the occasional text asking how I'm doing, but there's never any acknowledgement of what they did wrong, just surface-level pleasantries like nothing happened. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that. I learned something important through all this. You can't have a relationship with people who don't respect your boundaries, even if they're family, especially if they're family. The best part is that I'm not angry anymore. For months, I was furious, hurt, confused about how they could treat me that way. But time and distance gave me perspective. They showed me exactly who they are and what they value. I just finally decided to believe them. My Honda's running great, by the way. Just hit 80,000 miles and still going strong. Every time I start her up, I remember that I earned this car with my own hard work and determination. Nobody gave it to me, and nobody has the right to give it away. Sometimes the best gift you can give yourself is the freedom to walk away from people who don't treat you right, even when those people share your DNA. My life got infinitely better the moment I stopped trying to maintain relationships with people who saw me as a resource instead of a person. And honestly, I sleep great at night knowing that my car is exactly where I parked it, with my name on the title and my keys in my pocket. Some things are just that simple.